welcome. This is Conversation with Celena. If this is your first time, I am Celena, and we just want to welcome you in the house on this Thursday evening. We were just live at 5 o'clock at the Grand with Mama Cat, Judith Jones, aka Mama Cat at the Grand. They are closing, so she has made that announcement, and also that the party will be the finale will be at the Grand this Saturday, February the 11th at 8 o'clock. So it's a Mardi Gras theme. Come dressed to impress. But she said, regardless, just put on a t-shirt if you have to, your favorite Mardi Gras t-shirt, and come on. Don't let anything stop you. There's no cover charge. And so Mama Cat and Sister Pat, they show love over at the Grand. So be sure to go and give back and show them that you appreciate them for giving a customer appreciation bash on their way out. So anyway, I'm just excited about that. Please don't forget to get your Valentine's Day shout out. I'm drinking me some coffee. Don't forget to get your Valentine's Day shout out. I will say whatever it is that you want me to say, or I can just say whatever comes on top of my head, scripted. You know, I love to talk. So let's say say your name for me one more time.
Tamasia.
Ooh, let's say Miss Tamasia tells me that she wants to tell her honey, what's his name?
Ivan.
So she wants to tell Ivan, you are my Valentine. I love you so much. God put the perfect person in my life for me. You may not be perfect for anyone else, but you're perfect for me, and you are my Valentine. Whatever she wants me to say. And I will read that for him on the weekend before Valentine's Day. Then it will play again on Valentine's Day. So that's $10. And can anyone say and? Can you say and?
And
we're going to have a ring pop giveaway. Can you say and?
And
we're going to have an amazing candle to give away. So all of that for $10, but your time is running out. So please be sure to go to 4C coaching.com. So www.4ccoaching.com and get your Valentine's Day sunshine shout out. So now that's everything I think that I had to say. And we want you to go ahead and share this video. Please share the video. And now I'm going to tell you who my special guest is on tonight. She has an amazing testimony. I have never met her in person, but I have spoken to her on the phone. And this is my first time getting to see her beautiful face live and not completely in person, but virtual person. And so I'm so happy tonight that she has agreed to come and share her testimony, because we overcome by our testimony. And I know when people used to tell me, well, you're not going through it for yourself, you're going through it for someone else. That does not like motivate you in any type of way. I don't know. They think it does, but you're like, listen, I'm trying to get through it myself, much less talking about getting through it for someone else. But when you come out on the other side and you start sharing that testimony, every time you tell it, you gain strength, and the person that hears it gains strength, and then you continue to get stronger and stronger and go higher and higher. So I'm so happy Miss Tamasia Belton is here with me tonight. Did I say it right? Okay. And I'm gonna call you TB. What's your middle initial?
L.
L? Like Lynn?
Yeah.
Okay. So just to let y'all know, it is a little bit of a delay tonight. I'm not really sure what it is, but I don't want to second guess my pronunciation. Y'all know I don't like to misspell or mispronounce. So we're going to give her a nickname of TLB on tonight. And she is here to tell her testimony. So I'm going to give the floor over to her so that you all can meet her and hear this amazing testimony. So, girl, what you want to start out with? Girl, you got so much to tell. You got so much to tell. So I'm just going to be quiet. drink my coffee, and sit back and relax.
Well, first, my name is Tamasia. It would take days and days to share my story, so I'll just share a little and maybe follow up the next time when I
Okay,
come
share
on
that
or
next time. Okay.
right. With me starting off, I would rather say that um you never know what's going to happen or what you're going through unless you go through it. And sometimes the things that you go through, somebody else couldn't walk that mile, that foot, that yard, or however you feel to be in your shoes to even understand where you come from, where you're at now, and where you're going. So a lot of people say put the past in the past. Sometimes it's not that easy, but you could pray on it and heal so that you can go forward. So I start by saying, I was always the type of person that I was just on the go, on the go, on the go. I would try to be there to please everybody else, to make sure they were straight or they had, will put everybody before me, but not really was paying attention to myself. The things that I went through, what was having control of me, the stuff that I kept bottled up inside because you don't want to talk to this person. Oh, but this person might throw this back in my face, or this person
That's
might
right.
throw this back in my face, or I'm not going to tell this person this because they're going to look at me like I'm crazy or I'm just delusional, as they would say. So you keep so much stuff bottled inside. But I was always like on the go, on the move, constantly just moving. So me and my mother, we didn't have that mother daughter's bond that everybody would have. Um this is the start of my downhill, but I'm not gonna call it downhill anymore because I am a conqueror. I
That's
survived.
that's right.
Um so she got sick back in 2020, and we had our differences, like I said. Um it's not from any other situation than other mothers and daughters have, or maybe the mothers and the sons have. Um it's no difference, it's no difference. You get what I'm saying? It's all the same. But she got sick back in 20 she got sick. Well, back in 2020 she called me on February the 25th of 2020, and she wanted to talk about the things why me and her relationship wasn't right, and she wanted to apologize and stuff of that nature. But at that point it was too late. I didn't want the I'm sorry or I apologize. I just wanted her to tell me that she loved me. That's all I wanted. What she did, um she talked to me for a little bit. She asked me about my husband. She asked me about my baby. You know what I'm saying? It was basically pretty much like it was like you starting to learn someone that you never had that time to spend with. She was kind of, I guess tired, and she was like, well, she'll call me the next morning when she get up to go to the doctor. The next morning I got up. I had like two of my god kids with me, baby girl, and my other oldest goddaughter. I had her with me, and we was all at the house. I got them up for school. Got them off the school. They was dressed and everything. And when I came back, I laid down to wait on her call because I knew she said she was gonna call me, but I missed her call. So when I woke up, I was like, oh, I fell asleep. Like, I missed the call, and I tried to call her. I tried to call her. And my husband, which was my boyfriend at the time, he was like, well, she gonna call you back. And I was like, well, babe, do you think she changed her mind? And she switched up on me already and is going back to where we were before. And he was like, no, just give her time. She gonna call. She gonna call. Um, Later on in the afternoon, got closer time for the kids to get out of school, and I'm in the kitchen and I'm cooking. Trying to make sure they have something when they get home from school. And I got a phone call from Facebook, from Facebook Messenger, and the person started saying, "I'm sorry for your loss," and I'm like, "You sorry for my loss? What are you talking about? I didn't lose anybody." It's crazy how Facebook find out things before you even find out, and it's your family.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to cursing, like, what are you talking about? Calling her all kind of names. You don't do that. You don't call people and say stuff like that. So I immediately got in a discomfort mood. So as I told you, I was cooking. And so I just kept hearing something say, like, put your phone under the water. Just drown your phone. Drown your phone. It just kept saying it. So I got like a little bit close to drowning the phone, but then I started saying my sister called, but then that clicked out. Then I started saying my brother called. And then my daddy was calling. It's like they was all calling at once. So I finally answered the phone, but I answered the phone for my brother, but it ended up being my sister. And then that's when she told me. So to speed up the story a little bit, that was the week that I started getting sick, which was in March. The first week of March is when I started getting sick. I didn't know where it was coming from. Didn't know what was going on. I just noticed, like, the day of my mother's memorial, my feet was swelling so bad I couldn't even fit in my shoes. So I'm like, what is going on? Like, what's the problem? So I didn't think nothing of it. I just finished the little week out. We had her little memorial. She was cremated. You know what I'm saying? I spent time with my siblings, and I went back home. Well, as I got back home, it started getting real difficult. Like, I can't even really even explain to you how it started. All I know is I knew it was different because my body was swelling.
Mm-hmm.
So then this one particular day I got up and I went to use the bathroom. So I'm sitting on the toilet, I'm using the bathroom, and I got ready to wipe, and um for some reason I couldn't wipe my own self. So I called my friend that was with me at the time, and I was like, "Come here for a minute. Come here for a minute." And she was like, "What's wrong?" And I said to her, I said, I can't wipe myself. Something is wrong. Like, I can't even reach back there. So we lift up my shirt, and you could actually see like how tight my stomach was. You could see the little hole, like every hole where hair is supposed to grow out of your body. You seen that on my stomach, like every little hair hole. Like, oh, that's just how swollen I was. And then it was so black, so black that you didn't know what was going on. So I said to him, I said, I might need to go to the hospital to see what's wrong with me. Um, to see what's wrong with me. And it's like, you know, I didn't go. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I just need to wait. Maybe it'll go down, it'll stop, it'll do all of that. Well, it didn't. I just got bigger and bigger and bigger. So I finally went to the hospital, and I walked in and uh went to the hospital, and that was the last thing I remember because uh 3 weeks later I was woken up, and um the nurse was asking me about a burn that was in my face. And I was like, a burn in my face. And so the doctor asked me, what day is it? And I told him the date. And he said, no. He said, that was 3 weeks ago. I said, what? You mean to tell me I was in here 3 weeks? He said, yeah, you was in here 3 weeks. I said, well, what happened? Nobody knew what was going on. So he couldn't really tell me what was going on. I just noticed I was hooked to all kind of stuff. And I was trying to tell my sister, and I was trying to tell my husband. I was trying to tell everybody stuff. And they just was like, well, my dad said to me, was like, they said that I was trying to pull stuff out and stuff like that. And I'm like, what am I trying to pull out? They're not even telling me what's wrong with me. So I said to him, me and him kind of got into it because I'm telling him, like, look, what I'm saying, you want to be over something, and they're not telling you that I have a big burn in my face. Well, they saying you real sick, but what do they mean I'm real sick? They didn't know. You get what I'm saying? So the only thing that they kept saying about the burn in my face was the CPAP machine mask burnt my face. Okay, but it was also over my left eye. You know what I'm saying? So the machine burnt my left eye too. Okay, so what did the mask do to have a hole in the back of my head? You know what I'm saying? They couldn't explain none of this about any of it. Like what's going on, what happened? Is anybody gonna tell me what's going on or any of that? So then they finally moved me from ICU because I was in ICU. They finally moved me from ICU and moved me up to I think it was like the second floor. And the same nurse that when I first went and I remember seeing her face, the one that they suspended because of the burn and stuff on my face. When I moved up to the second floor, I seen her come in. And I remember her because she used to keep eyeliner around her eyes and I called her a witch. I don't know what she was doing to me, but I noticed that was always the nurse that used to tie me down. So when I wake up, is my arms used to be tied down, or that's who he would talk to. So I got into it with one of the nurses, and I said, "Look, I'm ready to go home." She was like, "Well, you can't go home because your dad said to keep you here till you get better." I said, "Well, it's not my dad call. My dad's not supposed to be over. It's supposed to be my husband." She said, "Well, I don't have anybody but his name down." I said, "Well, if you go back and look through my paperwork, it's only two people named that's ever been on my paperwork, and that's my husband and my sister, my second oldest sister." So I don't know how he ended up taking over everything. Then he put a password on so nobody couldn't call and check, and it was ridiculous. So I told him, I said, "Okay, I'm ready to go home. I want to go home, and I'm going home. I'm going to sign myself out." So they told him, and he was like, "Oh, they said you so sick and you can't do this and you can't walk, you can't do." And I said, "Who can't walk? I walked in here." Now, mind you, me and my dad and that sibling at the time was 300 and some miles away. Okay, how can you be over something and you're in a whole nother state than I am? Even though you're one state over, but still, you know, you can't make no calls because you really don't know anything about me. You know what you should know, but you don't know any other thing because I don't be around like that. Um, I They finally gave me my phone, but I was telling my husband the whole time like they was taking my phone, and he was telling me too like you hallucinate. Them people ain't doing that, and them people ain't doing this. And so then finally one day, and he said he said they got attitude with him too. So then he finally started understanding. So when they finally gave me my phone back, I um I called 911. So when I called 911, they answered the phone, and I told them that they were holding me against my will, and I wanted to go home, and that they wouldn't let me go. And so the dispatcher said to me, "They can't hold you against your will. Just tell them you want to sign out." At the time of me talking to them, there's a African nurse that came into my room, and she snatched my phone from me, and she said, "She's delusional." That's what she said to him. And I said, "Well, how am I delusional if I'm telling you I just called 911?" So I couldn't have been too delusional. Okay, so y'all had me in here over 3 weeks. Nobody could tell me what's wrong with me. Nobody could tell me how I ended up with the burn in my face. Nobody could tell me how I ended up with the burn over my left eye. Nobody could tell me how I ended up with a hole in the back of my head. Okay, so the next thing was, "You can't go anywhere because you can't walk." I said, "Who can't walk?" I walked in here. They sent physical therapy in the room. And that day when they sent physical therapy in the room, that's when I found out I couldn't walk. I
Mm.
also found out I couldn't feed myself. So when the nurse tried to feed me, I snatched it out of her hand, and all the fruits just like fell and just dripped down. So I'm asking them again. I'm like, "Well, what happened? You know, what is going on? That's why I need to get out of here." "Well, you just so sick, but y'all can't tell me what's wrong with me." Now, I remember one time I woke up, I was just in this room. It was just like a glass room. And if you look over to the left, it was no window for you to even see outside in this room. But if you look over to the left, it was like nurses or doctors or whatever it was, they was eating at this little table. It was like where cabinets was around or something like that. So I eventually signed myself out. They was like, well, we can't help you downstairs and stuff like that. You sign yourself out. I know the lady told me, but if you sign yourself out, anything that happened while you were in here, you can't do anything about it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I don't care. So my dad was still telling them not to let me sign myself out, and I kept telling them that it's not his choice. So I begged my second oldest sister that if I get out, I will let you come get me, and we'll come up there with y'all for a little bit till we find out what's going on. Well, later on that night when we did get there, I got sick again, and I started swelling more. I'm talking about this to the part where I'm starting not to even be able to fit in clothes. So I either had to wrap with a sheet or put on one of my dad's shirts. And they his shirts was like a six X, for me to put on that. And then some of them was still tight. The where they was made, it was still tight. So I went to the hospital and I went to the emergency room, and then the doctor said to me, was like, we can't let you go home like this. So I looked at him and I'm like, you can't let me go home like this. Like what? You know what I'm saying? So he goes, your heart rate is 176. I said 176, not really thinking, really what he was like, that's stroke level. I'm surprised you're even still walking. He said, I'm surprised you're even still living. So they admitted me. I think I spent about 3 weeks there. Um, wasn't it 3 weeks? 4 weeks. I spent 4 weeks in Palmetto Health in Columbia. So I do remember when I got in there, the first thing they did was they gave me Lasix because I was just swelling. Now at this time, I was just so angry because so I told you we had just lost our mother, and I'm like, Mama, I know you ain't came back to get me like this. This is not what I'm walking about. So I I kind of like was my anger came back all over again about everything that happened to me when I was younger, and then when I needed her, it was like uh I couldn't get her at that time. So it's back to okay, well I need her and she's not here and she left me. You know what I'm saying? So I guess I was kind of let me see the word for it. Angry at the wrong thing, and I was taking it out on her at the wrong moment. I was selfish because I felt like she was supposed to be there. And you wasn't there for anything else. And right now I need you. You really ain't here. I can't get you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going through this. So the doctor came in the room and he says to me, he said, your heart is failing. He said, not only is your heart failing, he said your kidneys are failing. He said, you have not used the bathroom since you've been here. And I said, what do you mean my kidneys failing and my heart failing? He said, if we don't do something, then you might not be with us. He said, we already lost you twice. I said, so why didn't you just let me be? He was like, oh no, not on my watch. Now that's 2 times. Okay. So I said, what can you do? Because I mean, if I'm going to be like this and everything is failing, then I don't need to be here, you know. So he talked to me about a heart ablation. I did a heart ablation. He said normally it works in people, sometimes it doesn't. The heart ablation worked. Um, I had to have 2 weeks of emergency dialysis. I don't have to have dialysis anymore.
Ooh, praise God.
Um, I had 8 blood transfusions.
Did you say
Um,
eight?
eight, eight. At during the time when they were doing my dialysis treatments, it was kicking back, and I was losing blood instead of them being able to filter. So I had to have 8 blood transfusions. Um, all of that to find out that the major issue of the problem was thyroid cancer. So this whole time, if they had found out earlier than what that was, then I feel like I wouldn't have went through all these other issues that I went through.
Mm-hmm.
So it in all it was I died 3 times. They brought me back. A heart ablation, 2 weeks of emergency dialysis, 8 blood transfusions, and 2 chemo treatments. All in 2020. I was in and out the hospitals. I had about 6 to 7 months, almost a year. Almost a year. So I finished there. I had anger with my dad at that time also. Um, him and my older sister. The people were trying to send me to like a rehab, um like a nursing home to get yourself together when I had my own house, own apartment in Georgia. Um, my husband was there. There's no reason why I should have to go to a
A nurse.
rehab. Yeah,
Mm,
there's no reason. So the doctor kept saying, well, your dad and your older sister said, and I said, well, they can't make those choices for me. I said, I'm going home. So I let them finish with me there. I left and I went back to Georgia. I did not speak to, well, I spoke to my dad before we left because I took him, I had his blanket with me in there. And I left and we went back. Well, I say about a week when we got back, I got sick again. So I
wow.
went to another hospital. You know, well, we're gonna have to keep you. I left. I'm not going through this keeping no more. Y'all just keep and nobody's really, explaining to me what's going on. I had to go to out of state for them to say what was wrong. And I'm like, they still didn't fix me how they supposed to. So then I left and came home, went to another one. I'm talking about they was swabbing my nose and all kind of stuff, and I got tired of them doing that, so they tried to put me on the COVID floor. And I'm like, I told the doctor I had just took one, not even 24 hours ago. So why would they keep going in my nose? You
Mm,
know, trying to get the same test when it's going to say the same thing. So that doctor was like, yeah, I was in the emergency room. I'm gonna let them take you back down. Stayed there for about a week. They took me out. You know what I'm saying? Took me back to the house. I mean, I'm talking about daily where I would fall, and then my husband would try to get me up, and it was him because it wasn't him, what I'm saying? It was just, I was scared. I fell, we would call the fire department, and then it got so bad to where the fire department started knowing who I was. They just came there, come on in, help me up, put me on the bed or wherever it was. It was times where I tried to do things on my own, so I just cried because I mean I wasn't used to it. I'm
mhm,
independent.
mm.
So I did everything on my own, and for me to have to have him to do it, or other people to help me, I felt useless. I felt worthless. I felt like I was nothing. So
That's a
it went
dark, dark place.
it was very dark. Then he goes and he started to comb my hair, and then my hair was falling out, and then my tooth came out. You know what I'm saying? So I cried about it. Every day I cried about something. It was hard. I couldn't walk. I'm in a wheelchair. I'm used to moving around. Like, what I'm saying? Why me? Like, what did I do to deserve this? Like,
Hmm.
it just
I'm a
was
good
on.
person. Hmm.
Yeah, it just was on and on. Like, look, what I'm saying? Now I got to ride around in a wheelchair. I can't walk, and my hair and fell out so bad to with it. I'm looking like, now I see how people feel that don't have hair or can't grow hair. You know what I'm saying? When you grow up and you doing all the little picking and stuff like that, and you never know what somebody going through. You know what I'm saying? At that moment, it showed me like you never know what somebody is going through. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So it went from that to got out of that hospital, went home, did the same thing, still doing it. Wasn't going to therapy or none of that. Um,
So when
so
was this turnaround? Like you lost your mom and you weren't able to get closure with her, and then you're going back and
mhm,
forth with your dad. He's trying to keep you
mhm.
in the hospital. You're trying to get out. You've been falling. The fire department's coming to get you. So what was the turning point in this hospital revolving door?
It was my husband. It wasn't the hospital. It was my husband because every day it was you gonna get up, you gonna do this, you got to try it, stop crying. The last time I went to the hospital, I told him it was August.
We got to give Ivan a shout out anyway. Ain't that his name,
August
Ivan?
yeah, I mean I think it was August the 13th, right? I started swelling up worse than what I was before. I'm talking about I told him, I said, look, I can't take it. It hurts. It's swollen real bad. I'm going. They're gonna take me to Northside. Northside is a hospital in the north part of Atlanta. I don't want to go to the cab anymore. I don't want to go to Georgia Piedmont. That's Rockdale. I don't want to go to Emory. I don't want to go to any of them. I want to go to Northside. Somebody has to tell me what's wrong with me. You know. Um, so the thing was I went there and when I first got there through the ambulance. They hit me with some Lasix,
Uh,
and yeah, again. And I told her what was going on, what happened. At this point, when I say I was so heavy, I couldn't turn left, I couldn't turn right. It was just I was swelling daily, swelling daily. So they just kept hitting me with Lasix in the emergency room part, and she was like, I was like, I gotta use the bathroom. She said, look, this is how we gonna do it. You gotta use the bathroom. We hit you with these Lasix. We just gonna have to come clean every time you do it because it needs to get out. You know what I'm saying? She said, I'm gonna tell you now, you can't go home tonight. You gotta stay here. And I never forget it because I cried. I dropped my head and I said to myself, and I said, God, I mean, why am I going through this? Like it helped me. Either you want me here, you gonna let me go, because I'm tired of this. And then me being away from my husband, I was never used to not being away from him. So they admitted me. I don't know. As they admitted me, it was days that went by. I always would wake up and I would say, well, am I going home today? And they would be like, no, you're not going home. Um, so I would call him and I'd be like, I want to come home. And he used to be like, you going to come home. You going to come home. I'm talking about doctors every morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. I never forget my doctor, Dr. Matthews. I was a cardiologist for Northside. Um, he came in and he said, it was um September the 1st. He said to me, he said, you doing better? He said, you moving? Um, have you been walking yet? And I said, no, they won't let me up. So they would call my husband and tell my husband, like, she's not doing good, she's not walking. Instead of just asking him things like, what do you do to get her to walk at home and stuff? That's what it boiled down to it. They call him and ask him, how do you get her to walk? And I didn't trust anybody but him. After all this in the hospital and stuff like that, I didn't trust anybody but him. So, well, they was calling him, and one of them was telling him he was a nurse was telling him that I wasn't doing anything. I was just laying there and stuff like that, and it all boiled down to where Dr. Matthews was like, no, you know, every day he said no. I got mad at him one day and I said to him, I said, y'all, please don't let Where's Waldo come in here no more because he's not letting me go home. I don't know if everybody know who Where's Waldo is, but it was a book that in school when I was younger, the man in the red and white shirt, striped shirt, you had to find him in the book, Where's Waldo? But that's how the doctor looked. So I said to him, and don't let him come in here. Let me talk to somebody else. So um during that time, that stay at the hospital, they moved me off of one floor, moved me to another floor. But it was just like a flower on the wall, a picture. But this flower looked like it had pegs. Like you could just take and pull it out one by one, one by one. that's when I really understood the hallucination part. That's when I really understood it, because it was like every time they would let me go, it was like I make it to the stoplight and the matrix would come and they'll snatch me back and I'd be back in the hospital, you know, or either, be quiet, babe, or either um my when I used to talk to my husband, he was like he needed a cigarette or something. Like I had everything. I had my cards, I had his cards, you know what I'm saying?
And
They
at
wouldn't
least
let
y'all
him come.
laugh about it now. But
Yeah,
y'all,
I can. It's still a sensitive moment, but you know what I'm saying? It's like
you got
I
me
used
over here.
to.
You see me trying not to cry. I'm like, Lord, please don't let me break down crying. But I so can relate to what you're saying, and just those dark moments in the hospital, the hallucination. I used to see stuff crawling up the wall, and I'm like, how
Yeah.
are y'all sitting around here looking at this stuff crawling, and nobody is doing anything? And they just would sit there because everybody knew, except for me, that nothing was crawling on the wall. And not being able to take care of yourself, not being able to walk, not being able to talk, not being able to write. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just a whole bunch of not being able to. And you just lay there. I remember just laying there with just warm tears just falling out of just each side of my eye. And so when you had that moment just a few minutes ago, it just reminded me of where I was, how far I've come. And we have so much, so much, so much to be thankful for, because in those moments you just wanted the Lord to take you. Like, I don't want to do this. I can't. I'm tired. I'm hurting. They can't figure out what's wrong. So I could so relate. That's why I ask you, what was the turning point for you? Like, because there's days it's still a struggle for me. Nothing like it was. Nothing like it was.
Hmm.
But just that pain, when you have to deal with pain daily, it takes a toll on you, and you still have to smile, and you still have to go on, and you still have to do your job, and you still have to take care of your children, but yet you're in pain every single day, and no one knows it. No one knows it.
Yeah. My turning point started was when the last hallucination I had. My husband's first cousin, I call him my brother. That played a lot on because me and him got real close. He got locked up in 2019, so I just had like everything on me. So my turning point was one day I looked over and I seen him sitting in the chair, but I told you he was locked up. So he wasn't sitting in the chair, but I argued with the nurse so bad that day. I argued with the nurse, and so I had talked to my husband, and I told him, I said, I'm ready to come home. He said, baby, you gonna come home. You gonna come home, baby. You gonna come home. But they keep you so drugged up, so all you gonna do is hallucinate.
Like,
So this one particular day, my husband had got me some earrings, and I was able to see them. You know, when he gave them, because I had my mom hanging over the IV pole. This is my mom in here. I had her hanging over the IV pole, and his earrings, him and our baby had got me while I was sick. Um, I don't know who said something or whatever, but I put on my earrings, and I asked the nurse for another pillow and another blanket, and she was like, "What you need?" For I said, "Cause my husband coming today." You know what I'm saying? But it was during COVID season. So they start listening to me and finding out what got close to me and what would make me do things. So the nurse was like, "Yeah, he did say he was coming, girl. You better get dressed. You better get up, and get dressed because your husband coming. You got to brush your teeth. You got to wash your face. You know what I'm saying?" So when I started brushing, this came out. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? So I was upset about that too. So then I'm getting dressed. I didn't put on my earrings. I didn't let the lady brush my hair, and I didn't got dressed. I didn't got up and I walked around the hospital with the physical therapy, and the doctor came in. I said, "Am I going home today?" He said, "No, you ain't going home today." He said, "But you getting there." So the next day, I got up. She said, "You and your husband had a good visit last night." I said, "Yeah." She said, "Where he went to?" The same nurse, and I didn't catch on to way. my husband was not there. I was hallucinating, but she found out what would get me up and moving,
Mm-hmm.
and she did it. So, um, got up and I asked for physical therapy coming in today. This was like the 7th. I asked the doctor. I said, "Am I going home today?" He said, "No." It went on again to the 8th. He said, "No." So I said, "Okay, I'm still going." The physical therapy came. I got up. I walked around. And then this right here was September the 9th. Now I was like, September the 8th. Okay. So I'm like, oh, my birthday in 10 days. I'm still going to be in the hospital. I can't walk, all this. So I got emotional again and had a little breakdown. It's like, just let me go. Don't let me come back. Don't let me come back if I go. So September the 9th, I got up. Um, I went to the pot that they had on the side of the bed. I asked for physical therapy. Um, so from September the 1st to the 9th, I was moving because they was faking me out that my husband was coming in, But they always used to tell me he gonna be here as soon as you go to sleep, and I never thought about it. But they had me so drugged up, I thought he was there. They brought the pillow and the blanket. You know what I'm saying? So September 9th, I got up, I got dressed, I was walking around, I was sitting in the chair. Um, they said, you waiting for your husband to come today? And then the nurse said, no, he not coming today. So I started crying. She said, what you crying for? She said, I'm gonna talk to you after the doctor come in here. You in here crying. She said, get up and get yourself together. Finish doing what you was doing. Don't you get back in that bed. So she came in, and so the doctor came in. He asked me how I was doing. He started smiling, and the doctor had tears coming down his face. He said, because I thought I lost you. He said, but I wasn't gonna let you go. I had you, and you kept telling me to let you leave, and he kept pointing at his watch, not on my watch. You're not going anywhere. So he said, I got some good news for you. And I said, what's the good news?
You going
He
home
said,
today?
you going home today. And then he said, you talked to your husband today? I said, no, they say he not coming up here today. You know what I'm saying? So he looked at me. He said, well, you going home. He going to be ready for you when you get home. Now, he knew, but I didn't know that day. So they let me go. They took me home. So September the 9th of 2020 was my last stay in the hospital.
And when
After
did they
that,
start?
hmm,
When did they start?
March 5th of 2020.
Okay.
So my last actual stay in the hospital was September the 9th. I have been to my appointments. I'm doing good. They said my heart is back at 100%. The
Okay.
nephrologist say I do not need any more dialysis. Uh, I am still in remission for thyroid cancer. So
Thyroid cancer.
those those two chemo treatments work. So it's pretty much like, that's, I guess I am who I am. I did gain so much weight. I was 543 pounds.
500.
I was 504. That's how I was only two something when I first went in, but altogether I ended up weighing 543. Once they gave me clearance of my cardiac, my cardiologist, Dr. Matthews, referred me for bariatric surgery. Um, my pre-op appointment, I was 413. I had bariatric surgery 10, 12, 21, August of 2021. I am now 261 pounds.
All right,
Um,
girl.
so I've been doing good. Um, but that's just a little bit of part of that part of my testimony. But I just feel like if anybody else ever get down and out, don't give up. Um, Giving up is not an option. Um, I'm not gonna say giving up should be in anybody's vocabulary because I was there. You never know what pushes a person to a limit. Just um when you a survivor or a conqueror, or what you went through, and you feel like nobody else sees what you go through. Just know it's somebody going through the same thing, and you were able to motivate yourself from them, or your experience is it's like a blessing to them, because they may be at that point at that time, or they just want to give up. So, and that's why I said to you, the mission that I thought was impossible, that was my mission. I thought I would never get over it. I listened to them. It'll be 7 years before you walk again. I'm walking now. It's still not how I should be, but I'm walking. I'm able to do things that I did before. It still gets to me. Don't get me wrong. I still have my little moments of times where I just get depressed and sad, like what happened. So I'm in my healing process. So that's mainly my turnaround, my healing process. When I say I forgive everybody from what who did me wrong, or if I did something to somebody wrong, I just forgive them, and I hope they forgive me, because life has no date on it. Like you never know what'll happen. So that's my turning point. The mission I thought was impossible was very possible. I'm a conqueror. I am a survivor. I am a strong one. So, and I just thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, girl, listen. We had a time on the phone, our conversation, and you blessed me with your testimony. And I know it was a private conversation, and we did share a lot more, but you have to um, be ready, because you can't tell everything in one episode, and it's not meant for all ears at the same time. And you have to be sensitive to when God wants us and prompts us to share things, because you don't never know how what you went through can help and bless someone else to just hang on one more day. Like, I just think, how many lives have we really changed, and we've never met the person and we don't know? We would probably be amazed if we knew. Just speaking to someone in the grocery store and asking them, "How are you today?" It can make such a difference, because it's a day by day thing. We only have today, and that's our present, that's our gift. We can't worry about yesterday. We can't focus on yesterday. We just can't. That'll have us depressed. And if we focus too much on the future, it'll have us anxious. So we just have to rest and relax in today, because that's what we have. So I thank you for sharing your testimony, and how it can encourage someone else who's going through cancer. It can encourage someone else who has a relationship that's estranged with their loved ones. Like, get that together today, because you
Mhm.
might not have an opportunity. Your mom, y'all had just literally just
Yeah,
reconciled and didn't even have a chance to continue the conversation. The very next day, she was gone. And
mhm.
and then here you are having grief. You're going through grief, and that goes through so many different stages. And now you're sick and grieving the loss of your mom, and angry with her because she's not here and you need her the most. Like, it was just so much that you were going through. And I know that hallucination is no joke. Like, they're telling you one thing, and you're looking at them like, y'all are the ones that's crazy, but you're the one that's really hallucinating. But you telling everybody
Mhm.
else, what's wrong with y'all? And
Yeah,
so it's a blessing, that you had your husband there, to continue to encourage and push you, and just be there for you, because everyone, they don't have that. They just don't
yeah,
have that. And so your journey is yours to embrace, yours to conquer, and you're definitely a survivor, an
yeah.
overcomer.
That's all I can do is embrace it. At first I was embarrassed about it, but all I can do is embrace it. I went through it. So I mean, I earned that trophy because I pushed myself. No matter how much I wanted to give up, he didn't let me give up.
That's
You know,
awesome.
so so yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I know, did you have something else you want to say? Because I don't want to say anything that's out of place.
Oh, what you want to know? Like what?
I was gonna say, I don't want to say anything out of place. Don't you have something that's gonna be available soon?
Oh, my book.
I wasn't
Um,
sure. I'm like,
yes. I'm almost finished with my book. I'm writing a book. The name of it is "You Robbed Me." So I still got about a chapter and a half to finish of that before I send it off to have that edited and looked over. But yeah, it's gonna be coming soon. The book "You Robbed Me." Yeah, and
and
that's
what?
about. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask you, and what's the short version of, if you were advertising it, how would you advertise it? What is it about the book that's gonna make us want to go grab a copy?
It's talking about the reason why me and my mother didn't have a bond. Uh, being raped or molested as a child. And the person who done it, it's like they took everything from you. They robbed you. You robbed me of my family. You robbed me of the time that I had to spend with my mother, the love that I should have had. You robbed me of my siblings because I ran away and I left my siblings. And for all those years, I guess they felt as if, I didn't want to be around them or I was better than them. It's just he robbed me. You robbed me of everything. But by the time this book is over, I just want him to know that I'm getting everything back that I lost. Everything that I've lost, that you robbed me for and more. You robbed me of my insanity. You robbed me of, a lot of things. But I just want him to know that, you may have got away with it from the law. You may have gotten away with it from your family. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, God sits high and he looks low. So when I began my healing, I forgave him too. And that's all I want him to know. I forgive you. But God is going to tell you worse than what you did to me and what you did to us, period. You know what I'm saying? Because we were happy kids. We were the kids that had it. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that we had the world, but we had a family until you came in and broke it. So he's a robber, and I call him Swiper. So that's what my book is from that time to me being, who I am now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm?
And so I take it that the person that did all that to you is still alive.
Yes, he is.
Mm-hmm. And has he ever apologized?
No, no, but I can't wait on him to apologize because if I did it, it'll still have kept eating me up, and I wouldn't have been in the situation I was in before if I would have just forgave before, but I couldn't do that. So at the time that I said about a month ago, I said, I'm starting my healing process. I forgive any and everything that did me wrong if I did wrong. But no, he never apologized. I don't have to
Forgive them
apologize.
all. I forgive them all. I understand.
Yeah, so I don't even think he knows the being apologetic because when we took it to court after he finally got arrested, that's gonna be another story of how he got released, but they released him and they let him go. But the whole time in the courtroom, he still looked as if he was
The victim.
scaring someone. Yeah, like he was scaring someone. Now, when I was a child, you did scare
That
me,
work.
but
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that worked. But as I got
Mm-hmm.
older, is no longer. But I
Girl,
asked
you about
God
to preach
for that.
over there.
But I asked God for that forgiveness because you know yourself. And when you start going through things or you thinking about things, well, I can't speak for nobody else, but I speak for myself. With him in that situation, with me and us when we were younger, and how I used to try to tell, and people would think you were Storm because they would say you telling the story. You know what I'm saying? What he did, I felt like it's sick. You get what I'm saying?
It's
Um,
definitely
you would never prosper in nothing that you do. Because that's just point blank sickening. I don't care how you put it. You know what I'm saying? But I every time I seen him or I went around and I seen him or anything, I got those evil and difficult thoughts that I shouldn't have had. So I had to beg and ask God for
to forgive
uh
me. Mhm.
yeah, to forgive me for my thoughts, you know what I'm saying, that I had towards him, but I couldn't let that keep controlling my life. So I said, let me just finish writing, you know, and getting this out, and let me get in my healing process, you know what I'm saying? Because if not, you know what I'm saying, if looks could kill, boy, I tell you, I get him every time I see him, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that's about it, you know what I'm saying? But
And
so
when are you gonna release it?
um I wanted to be released on April the 17th. Uh, April the 17th is my baby's birthday. They're deceased. We'll talk more about that later. But the three eyes is what I call them. So I wanted April the 17th of 2023. I want it to be published on that day, and that's my dedication to them. Um,
Mm,
so we'll, like I said, we'll talk more about that later, and then when I'm ready to really explore that one, then we'll, be able to talk about that one. But I know I could talk to you about anything, so I could reach out to you, when I'm in that little mood, and we could talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, so that my book is dedicated to my babies. So
and that day is special to me because that's my grandmother's birthday. So how much is the book gonna be? Because I need to go ahead on and pay for my.
I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I'm waiting on a lady that I talked to. She said uh she's gonna help me with the publish, but I need to let her know when I'm finished. So by me being almost finished, I'm gonna try to finish it up before February so I can send it to her because I've written everything by hand. It's not like I typed it up and then I just written everything by hand, and it's like I got a big notebook. I got my chapters already off. I got, you know, um. So I don't know. Once I figure out where with that, I'll let you know. Um, but yeah, I'm ready.
Yes, let me know because
That's
I'm.
why I said I know this is my first time really speaking live with anybody on anything.
I
So
feel
I
so.
appreciate that. I appreciate that.
And you're going to get better and better and better. And the more you tell it, you're going to become even more free. Um, and it's going to build your confidence as well because people are going to come and tell you, you bless me. Your testimony helped me. I saw it when I
Mhm.
was in the hospital and I wanted to give up. I saw it when, my loved one passed away and I just wanted to jump, right on in there with them. Or I saw it when I was fighting with my parent and my siblings and it helped me. Um, it's encouraging. And then you talk about your husband being there at your darkest hour. That's all such an amazing testimony. And I know people probably say you always saying that, but I promise you there's always something that just resonates from each and every story. And like your story, I was about to cry like 3, 4 times in it because I could see my situation in what you were saying. And anybody that really, really knows me, they understand. Anyone that really, really knows my story, they understand why I'm over here tearing up and why I'm about to like break down and cry when I hear you talking about how dark it was in the hospital, when I hear you talking about somebody robbing you of your family. Like I can relate to that. And even though you ask God to forgive you for the thoughts that you have toward them, and even though you forgive them, there are moments when you're having to suffer the consequences of someone else's behaviors that make you,
Right.
it's like you revisit and you have to do it all over again and say, Lord, I don't want to go down that road. Please forgive me and remove these thoughts from me. So if anybody thinks that the healing process, that you don't ever have to revisit them, I'm not here to tell you that. Like, maybe somebody else experienced that, but I know personally
No,
haven't. I forgave every last person that has ever offended me. I really have.
but
But
it's never. It's
in
not to cut you off, but it's never going to be that easy. I don't care what nobody. I don't care if they say you're not going to visit it. That's not the truth, and I will not tell nobody not going to do that because I started doing that a lot afterwards. So I used to be like, oh, okay, well, so my husband, we've been married February the 14th will be a year, but we've been together 8 years. We got married February the 14th last year at the courthouse. So
God,
I'm not going to.
anyway.
I'm not gonna tell you you're not gonna relive it. There's gonna be times when I'm talking about you boohoo cry, you need your tissue, you need to go to your closet, your room, or anything. Because there's a lot of times I sit back and I think about it, or either if I'm watching something on TV, like it's crazy. But then I look at it like, dog, I done came a long way. I'm walking again, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And I told my husband last year, I said, baby, I said, we might as well go ahead and get married. Because any other time I said we were gonna get married, I'd play him like, oh, or either I get upset with him and something like that, and be like, man, we not getting married no more. You know what I'm saying? So it always been me, be like, oh no, we not getting married no more. So we ended up doing it last year, but we supposed to have our ceremony July the 1st of this year, on Daytona Beach. So yeah, so
I
it's
might,
not gonna be easy.
I might have to drive over there.
Yeah, so it's not gonna be easy because I'm telling you, there's times where I sit back and I don't let nobody see me cry. They'll never know, you know what I'm saying? I don't even let him see me cry, or let him see me upset because then he'll get upset. But it's hard, but I'm applying that pressure, and I know it's gonna be times like that because this book I've cried, I've laughed. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about I cried and laughed at the same time. So it's different to everything. So I just say everybody got it. If you in a situation like that or you going through something like that, you just got to be strong. I mean, I can't. I ain't gonna say don't let it break you because it's gonna break you sometime, and I might not break you down, but it's gonna break you, and you're gonna feel it. But you gotta know, I am a survivor. My mission is possible. Everything that I thought was impossible is possible. And you can get
Everything
over that.
thought was impossible is possible.
Right.
You can walk again, you can write again, you can love
It's a
again,
process.
you can
It's a
trust
process.
again. It is truly a
Mhm.
process.
Yeah, you gotta and you gotta trust the process. You can't give up on it. You gotta trust it. And I always say it. Well, sometimes I have my moments, and I don't even go on Facebook platform. Like I have my moments, and I won't go on there for a couple of days or so. Before I ran into you, I told you I used to look across the page. When I add somebody, I don't just add them and say, okay, well, then I'm going through their page. I'm stalking their page. Let me go see what they talking about. I done added somebody. Let me go see what's going on. And I'm telling you, your posts and stuff that you used to put on there, I had to share one day because I'm like, look at her. She just don't even know me and don't even know I'm on her page. And she just, all that is just like speaking to me all at once. Like, here you go, pal. You know what I'm saying? This is it. And then when I seen it, that's what made me say, you know what? It's time for my healing. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? It's you pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to the signs, and that's what I did.
mm-hmm.
And I'm
And I
starting
look
to feel so much better.
posts and I said, I got to get back to posting again. It's just, it be so much going on that you don't get an opportunity to post like you want to, but it comes up. And so, it don't have to be perfect. That's where we mess up at. Like, you just put the words. You ain't got to go get a picture, because it's the words that's going to penetrate. It's the words that's going to heal. It's the words that's going to resonate with the person, not the picture. The picture is just extra stuff. And so we got to get away from that spirit of perfectionism and be more focused on just getting it done, because that getting it done, you're telling me you saw the post and the post blessed you. We all got to get back to posting, because we'll scroll by somebody else's page and it'll be right on time. Oh, I needed that today. Or somebody will send me a text message. I needed that today. But if they're not obedient, then I could just be sitting over here, or you could just be sitting over there going through, because we don't go through publicly. We go through, most of us, privately. And so those words that show up on Facebook or in a text message, it encourages us. It encourages us to keep on. The live that I did before this one, uh, Sister Pat and Mama Cat, they
Yeah,
encouraged me. Like,
I was looking at a little bit of it, but I was at therapy. So, on Thursdays they make me do it in the afternoon. I don't too much like that in the afternoon, but I was trying to catch a little bit of it, and it was like, okay, come on, time for your therapy, so you have to put your phone up. But I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna catch that replay. I
yeah,
be
so
catching those replays.
they're closing their banquet hall. Excuse me. So they're
Mm-hmm.
closing different things for Picayune and the surrounding areas used to take place at that location. And so she saw me and she said, I want to come on and I want to tell the community thank you. But they also told me, thank you, Sunshine. You know, we appreciate what you're doing. And it just encouraged me, because I already love doing this anyway. But when you give me some words of encouragement, like, your post helped me, baby, that only fuel my fire. And then them telling me, you know, we love you, that just fuels my fire. You're gonna have haters that come along, because I had a post that said my page was reported or something. I'm like, well, report on, because they're not gonna go find anything on my page unless someone else put it there. It would have to be hacked, because if Mark go looking for it, he gonna find a word of encouragement on my page, or he gonna
Right.
find a
Yeah, cause
testimony. Yeah.
yeah,
So
cause when I was going through your page before, we even connected. I said, look at the bond she got with her sons, and people pay attention to that. You know what I'm saying? Your bond is so good with your boy. It's like, I'm like, look at her, look at him. He just be laid back, just be talking, one of them, and the other one just be so excited. Y'all bond is everything, and I hope y'all keep it that way. Cause it's
girl, I
like,
was ready to disconnect them last night. I think it was. These children get on your nerves sometimes, but I love them to pieces. And thank you for that. I appreciate it. They will both be graduating in May. May 12th is their graduation, and unfortunately, it falls on the same day. So I don't know how we're going to do that, but it's a process for a single mom to try to get children through college. And I'm gonna say especially boys, because that's what I have. I can't compare it to a girl, but I just feel like we just have our mind more made up. Them boys just be like, whatever.
yeah,
um
my sister that's over me, her son, he graduated early, but they don't have the ceremony till May. But he already went off to college. He at Georgia Tech. Um, he had 26 schools offer him a full scholarship for football. So he at Georgia Tech. So you know, I'm not gonna say I don't understand where you're coming from, but yeah, it is. You know what I'm saying? And when you're used to somebody being around, then hey, but yeah, he's there. He's at Georgia Tech, and I'm wishing him the best. And I try to tell him every day, Auntie, love you, Meaty. To kind of keep him going up, because they was raised totally different than how we were raised. So yeah, so
that's awesome.
it's
Yeah.
important to show your love to kids and let them know, because it'll be better. Don't let them be bitter, because I mean, I got my GED because I was expelled my 11th grade year because of the anger and the stuff that I went through, and the bullying, because of what was going on in our household. I chose not to let it out. But this one particular day, if you got somebody that's supposed to be your friend and they go around and they tell the whole school, you're gonna feel some type of way. So
They
I
told the
snapped.
whole school what was going on at your house.
Yeah, this was supposed to be my best friend. Yeah, so I kind of snapped, and you know, father. Her mother didn't press charges on me, but I got expelled. We that's for another story. Right? Matter of fact, they'll catch that in my book too. But if
I'm
I could
smiling.
run,
Got the baby behind you. That's what I was smiling at. She was trying to
oh,
pass. She was she was back there laughing. So yes, that'll be another. You got
see,
about 4 episodes going on. Yeah, I saw her. You got about four
yeah,
episodes going on, but it's okay because you survived them all. You survived
hmm
the betrayal from your friend, you survived the abuse from your stepdad, the rejection from your mom. I mean, like, girl,
hold
when
on,
you was
hold on, hold
telling
on.
me the test,
That was not my stepdad, Sugar.
what
That
was
was
he?
my mama boyfriend.
Well, that's what I meant. I ain't want to say, girl, you know what I'm
Uh-uh.
saying. That was a
I
boy.
want to say, I tell you what he was, but we're gonna leave it like that. We're
Yeah,
gonna leave it like that.
we're gonna leave it PG. PG
Yeah.
13.
hmm
Yeah. Low down and dirty is what he is.
hmm Need to be missing some parts.
Definitely. But yeah, so just be sure to let us know whenever the book comes out because we want to help you promote it and get, get it out there so that people can buy it cuz man, this story right here, that's all I could say. That's all I could
I'm,
say.
I'm gonna let you know because it's a good one. I'm telling you, I laughed, I cried, I did both of them at the same time. So you know, but again, I appreciate you for even, you know, conversating with me, sunshine.
Girl, I appreciate you trusting me with your information. You shared your testimony with me and you had never even met me.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
thank you for that. Thank you for
Yeah.
trusting me with your information.
And you got to start somewhere. I told you, trust issues. I told you that from the beginning, but I trusted you and I talked to you. And when I seen it ain't go nowhere between me and you, then yep, now is my time.
This is your
So,
time. This your time to shine, honey.
yeah.
And I tell you what, you continue to be transparent and you're going to draw so many people in. You're going to draw so many people in just by being transparent. And that's hard to do when you're in the healing process, but don't let nobody tell you that you can't help while you're healing because that's where I am. I'm not lying to anybody and making them think, oh, I have arrived. I am so much further along than where I used to be, but it's
Mhm.
because of peeling back the layers. It's because of the transparency. It's because people like you that I can relate to, you can relate to me. And God has just put so many people in my pathway that says, guess what, sunshine? That happened to me too. Your story might be a little bit different, but molestation is what? Molestation. Rape is rape. Rejection is rejection. Sickness
Mhm.
in the hospital is sickness in the hospital. Your time was different than my time because I didn't have nurses. Like I had some bad ones. You can ask my sister Vanessa. I had some bad ones and I had some good ones because she was right there with me in the hospital trying to make sure that everything is okay. And that's an important thing for people to understand. When you're in the hospital, you need an advocate in there with you because there will be some people they're not going to give you great attention or great care. Um, they'll leave you wet and messed up all night,
Mhm.
all day if you don't have somebody saying, hey, I need somebody to come in here and do this. But I just thank God that there was some times I had to be in there by myself. But there were a lot of times that I didn't have to be in there. But when you're in ICU, people can only stay for so long. And
I
it's
couldn't
a
have nobody. It was during COVID season. I couldn't have nobody. They wouldn't let
girl,
nobody in. Even my lawyer couldn't get in.
there's nothing like that. Absolutely nothing in the world like being in the hospital, can't get up, can't do anything for yourself, and have to be totally dependent upon someone else, even to give you something to drink, to turn you from one side. They had to turn me from one side to another side because I couldn't turn myself. And so if anybody see me smiling, if anybody come talk about you act like everything is rainbows and butterflies, because I had somebody tell me that, guess what? Because it is rainbows and butterflies, because I've been on the other side. I've been in the thunderstorm. I've been in the hurricane. Whatever you want to call it, I've been in it. And now the sun is shining for me. And can't nobody, I don't care how hard they try, can't nobody take what God has for me. Because what's for me is for me. I just have to stay in a place of faith. I have to stay in a place where my heart posture says it don't matter what's going out there. If it's meant for me, it's meant for me. I'm not going to tell you on breakdown. You can call my prayer partners and ask them right now, like, Lord have mercy. She wasn't saying that 2 weeks ago. She was calling saying, I need you to pray for me. I sure was, because I'm thankful that I got people that I can call and say, I need you to pray for me to get me through. And then when I come back on top, guess what? I'm here to help somebody else get through. Because no man should be left behind. Now, everybody can't go where you're going, but if you can.
Right, you got that right. Everybody can't go where you're going. But they got to find their own destination. So don't get upset if somebody go another place because you weren't meant to go to that place.
You weren't meant to go to that place, girl, because I got upset the other week, a couple weeks ago, because I thought I was going to go to this one particular destination. I'm still going to that destination. It just wasn't on that flight. It wasn't on that time. It wasn't on that day, that month, that week, whatever.
Right.
Time is coming. And as long as I continue to celebrate other people, that's where folks get messed up. You celebrate other people whenever they're doing some of the things that you want to do. You get connected with them. That's not using, that's networking. You like, now, girl, how you managed to do that? Because I got one friend, she forever traveling. She was like, oh, I had no money. What? You just went over there and you got back from there, you went over there, and then you got back from there, you went over there. She said, girl, I plan. I pay for it. I charge it and then I pay for it, or however, use these different payment methods. But that's what you have to do. You have to get connected with people who are doing what you want to do in order to find out you're doing it. Everybody not going to share it. And so if you with some tight-lipped people, keep it moving. Get somewhere where people don't mind sharing their success. They don't mind sharing their how-to. Girl, this how you do this. Girl, this how you do that. That's what we need. Instead of trying to hold it all to ourselves, it's an abundance. There is enough to go around.
That's why I be telling everybody I be doing my own credit and you know what I'm saying, and this couponing thing. I need to start back doing everything that I was doing before. But like I told you, that moment when I got sick, it's like I lost everything. I used to sing all the time. And I don't even I used to sing all the time. I've been sung on certain people's CDs, you know what I'm saying? They songs and stuff like that. But it's like everything was crazy. Me and my husband, you know what I'm saying? When we first got together, we used to sing at night before we go to sleep, you know what I'm saying? Like my favorite gospel singer is the Cardi Cortez, He is Tim Rogers. So we'll sing something from both of them, and just be going back. So we'll sing together, you know what I'm saying? But when I got sick with the thyroid cancer, like I just stopped. Everybody be like, you still need to get it back. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe one day, my voice will come back how it is. My husband makes beats. He's a music producer, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes I sit there and he be making beats and I sit there and I just be singing something to his little hook, you know what I'm saying? Or either he'll sing something. So he's like, it's a lot of stuff that I used to do that I just have to gain back. And like I said, I broke out of that moment of saying that I can't do this or I can't do that anymore. I just got to get back to doing it. You know what I'm saying? I am who I am, the DIY project, you know what I'm saying? Upholster. I used to do all that stuff, crochet, you know what I'm saying? Candles, bath. It's like, it got, oh, this computer about to die. But it's like, it's a lot of things, but we just gotta know, it's just a time in the season. That's yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna let you go before your computer dies, but thank you for that. I did not know he made music. I might need him to make me a tune, so let him know that, and we will have to
Mhm.
put a pin right here and what do you call it? I can't even think of the word. Reconvene at a later time. That's what I was looking for.
Mhm.
At a later time, we'll have to
That's
schedule another.
fine. That's fine.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
I really enjoyed your story. Yes, it was like I was hearing it all for the first time again because I'm like, dang. Hey, Life with
Yeah.
Mandy. Yeah, so April 17th, I'm gonna be ready for the book. So make sure you don't delay so you can get that over to whoever's gonna help you
I'm
publish
not.
it. And look,
Okay.
I'm talking, but I need to be talking to myself and get the writing somewhere. I did buy me a notebook tonight. I'm gonna say that out loud. So maybe somebody can help hold me accountable for getting it written down. At least
Yep,
some
because
form.
you made because you made me get mine, and I write my daily affirmations every day. Every morning I wake up, I write something in that little cupcake notebook, and I take it with me everywhere I go. So
You
yes,
gonna make me
ma'am.
make a cupcake notebook. Send me a picture of
Yeah.
it. I might make a
Okay, I will.
cupcake. All
All
right. Well,
right.
y'all have an amazing night. Don't forget to get your Valentine's Day shout out. I love y'all so much. And y'all be waiting, anticipating this book coming out. What's the name of it? You Robbed Me, right?
You robbed me. Yes,
You
ma'am.
Robbed Me. April the 17th. So y'all have a blessed night. Go share a smile and spread some sunshine. Mwah. Good night, y'all.